In Australia, people have registered trademarks over some truly outrageous words and phrases, including knock and futz, fuck-aware, cheese dick, and shithead. So, where does the court draw the line? In this video, we're going to be looking at the topic of scandalous trademarks and the tests the court applies in determining what is scandalous. Section 42 subsection A of the Trademark Act states, an application for the registration of a trademark must be rejected if the trademark contains or consists of scandalous matter. The word scandalous is not defined in the Act. The ordinary dictionary meaning of scandalous was considered in the case of Cosmetic, Toiletry and Fragrance Association Foundation against Fanny Barnes Proprietary Limited. In that case, Hearing Officer Williams stated, scandalous indicates the causing of a significant degree of disgrace, shock or outrage. This, I think, goes beyond merely giving offence. This case was in relation to trademark of the phrase look good plus feel good equals root good, which was described as crude and in bad taste by Hearing Officer Williams, but was still held not to cause a sufficient degree of shock. The case of Coon Streetwear Proprietary Limited's trademark application held whether a trademark will reach this sufficient degree of shock is to be determined objectively from the perspective of an ordinary person. Section 2.3 of Part 30 of the Trademark Office Manual of Practice and Procedure states that the ordinary person should not be credited with either a very thick or very thin skin, but neither should the ordinary person be subjected to gross obscenity or profanity. There must also be a substantial number of persons who will be or are likely to be shocked, but this number doesn't necessarily need to be more than 50%. Another factor is the context of use. Section 2.5 states it is appropriate to consider normal expected use rather than possible use, and Section 2.10 of the policy manual states where a trademark is scandalous or in bad taste due to obscenity, violence or profanity will depend upon the ultimate market for the goods. This is why in Coon Streetwear, trademark over the word coont was refused because the written version too closely resembled the word cunt, and the clothing line in question was marketed to the general public. This is opposed to fuck-aware, which is registered because it is an adult product and only seen by people over 18. Case law doesn't go into much more elaboration than this. However, the Manual of Practice and Procedure covers certain categories of scandalous trademarks. Section 2.6 of the manual deals with offensive language. Whether offensive language is acceptable as a trademark will depend upon the amount of invention and imagination used to present it. The manual states that phonetic equivalence will generally be accepted if the expression is sufficiently modified by way of humour, idiosyncratic spelling, or other factors. However, an overt phonetic equivalent with only minor differences in spelling and no softening through humour or subtlety will be scandalous. Section 2.9 of the manual states trademarks incorporating words and images which condone or promote violence, racism, or sociopathic behaviour will be regarded as scandalous, provided they are in an obvious context. Section 2.12 of the manual states that a trademark with an image of a person is likely to be rejected as a trademark if the trademark itself could be considered scandalising, the trademark contains or consists of an image of a well-known person accompanied by a profane suggestion, or the relationship between the goods and the services and the person's image in the trademark would clearly scandalise. The policy manual cites using the image of the Pope in relation to contraceptives as an example. However, there are some trademarks which will always be regarded as scandalous. Under Section 2.11 of the manual, the Trademark Office will reject applications which contain racial vilification, religious intolerance, personal abuse of others, or trademarks incorporating abuse of the Australian flag. Essentially, the Trademark Office is pretty liberal in its decisions and is only likely to refuse something on the grounds of being scandalous if it is obviously offensive.
Created using Powtoon.